That's a great story, but also so profound because the fact that you knew to the date what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and your parents probably were like, "This girl's crazy. Why is she coming? We're good. We're good."
Yes,
And then everything just
absolutely.
happened. So that's very, but
Yes.
our intuition is we don't give it enough credit for what it can share with us and what it can guide us.
How does your story empower your life? Join me as I speak to many people around the globe and understand how the empowerment of their story led to the transformation of their life. My name is Raschell Harlingten, and this is the Transformational Soul Talks. This podcast is sponsored by Campground TBD.
Hi, I'm Misty Lee at Campground TBD and my favorite nonprofit, Hayden's Ray. Sometimes we need to fast from society, fast from our relationships, fast from our distractions, fast from the things that are clouding our mind from clarity that may be causing frustration or doubt. Fasting is a beautiful way to do that, and you don't have to give up food unless you want to. At Campground TBD, we offer a safe space in nature for you to come and fast from what you want to, be filled with organic nourishment, body, mind, and soul. Can't wait to see you here at campgroundtbd.com.
Hi, my name is Rochelle, and welcome to the Transformational Soul Talks. Now, what happens when we bring together science with the unseen realms? Well, my guest today is doing just that. She is a clinical psychologist, a multidimensional channel, and she channels Hathor, earth spirits, fairies, and extradimensional beings, delivering profound guidance on consciousness, healing, and humanity's evolution. She is also an author of Conversations with Hathor and Conversations with the Earth, a regular presenter as well at the major spiritual expos, including Conscious Life Expo, Lemurian Life Expo, and Sedona Transcendence. Through her channeling, light language, and live readings, my guest today offers transformative insights that captivate audiences and accelerates awakening. So I'd like to offer a wonderful warm welcome to Dr. Yafi Yair today.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you.
That's a great story, but also so profound because the fact that you knew to the date what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, and your parents probably were like, "This girl's crazy. Why is she coming? We're good. We're good."
Yes,
And then everything just
absolutely.
happened. So that's very, but
Yes.
our intuition is we don't give it enough credit for what it can share with us and what it can guide us. Tell us a little bit about how the multidimensional beings and Hathor started to
hmm
come into that.
Yeah, so the only thing I will mention that I didn't before that, in addition to all of that, I started going to the Monroe Institute regularly, which
Mhm.
further developed my discernment of different states of altered consciousness.
Okay.
And also, I became familiar, I became aware of hypnosis, which was just an
Mm,
exhilarating combining of my spirituality with my professional world, which was a big, big turning point in terms of my transition into a spiritual practitioner. And then, approximately 5 years ago, during the COVID shutdowns, I signed up for a channeling training. Now, I've channeled before and I've been doing psychic readings for maybe
mhm.
6 years at the time, many more years, maybe 9 years more now. However, I'm not doing the math, but many years. Uh, so the idea of the psychic world and energy and getting specific information, that was not new to me. But channeling, I felt was taking it a step further, and it was a little too weird for my still somewhat scientific, analytical mind.
I like that.
So,
Too weird.
and then it kept on coming up, the same source again and again and again. Because at the beginning, I was just channeling anyone and everyone in a high frequency, of course, within the realms of love and light. Anyone that would talk to us about humanity, the earth, the shift, yes, come talk to us. That was me and my group. So, I And that's in my book, Conversations with the Earth. That's me channeling the moon, the Zetas, different councils, different, just anything you can imagine, anything that we were curious about, we would call and I would channel and we would ask different questions.
Wow, that's crazy. But I love that because you know, you ask all those questions. I've talked to channels, and sometimes the questions and the answers you get are incredible, but they're all very, there's a similar undertone to all of them. Is that
Absolutely.
love, respect for one another, being kind to everyone because we are all connected, seems to be the general message. Would you say so? Would you agree?
Absolutely. Today, more than ever, is to learn self-compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we tend to be so hard on ourselves and so judgmental and not give ourselves even time for, it's going to sound a little weird, but it's time for confusion, time
Mm-hmm.
for uncertainty. And those are important because before any reorganization into a higher frequency, into a more complex pattern, there's a time of uncertainty and relative chaos before the reorganization and reshaping takes place. And that's kind of where we are, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also true about any time of change. So it's very important to allow ourselves to make mistakes, to not
Mm.
know, to be uncertain. And we're not very great at that as humans. Maybe even women more than men, I'm not sure, but we're not very great at that. So we really need to work out that muscle of self compassion and of patience and really, really start with yourself and start within, which
Mm-hmm.
sounds simple, but it's
But is
really,
not.
no, it's a lifelong journey
It
of
absolutely
unfurling
is.
more and more layers and learning more and more and more. This was a quick introduction to our essence in sound format that is interacting with your senses slightly differently than when you hear language. It has the benefit of bypassing that left brain critical mind you have been discussing. And as a result, communicate, interact more directly with your subconscious and with the rest of yourself, the different aspect of the self. It is always our pleasure to introduce our essence to anyone that may be a new seeker of that element in their spiritual journey. Now, let us now introduce ourselves, discuss the notion of who and what we are. Are we an it, she, them, anything else, all of the above, and much more? Hathor is a name you are familiar with from ancient Egypt. During ancient Egypt, it is associated with a specific goddess, a specific being, woman, divine feminine. However, our essence is more than just one woman, and in fact has been called many names by many different cultures. We identify as a divine feminine because our initial point of origin is the flow of creation, which is in essence feminine. some of these terms may seem really abstract or really like a stretch, and that is okay. We invite you to take what resonates, to put aside what seems confusing or you are unsure of, and to toss what feels in disresonance. So this is where the divine feminine aspect comes in as the flow of creation. From there comes our identity as Sirian beings, as physical beings on Sirius B, a planet on the Sirius B star system, from which we evolved as people, as a collective, and spread our work throughout different dimensions and different areas of the cosmos, interacting and contributing to different life forms and life systems. One of those systems is your precious, beautiful planet and your precious, beautiful humanity. So we have been interacting with your planet and with humanity from what you would consider the beginning of time. So you may see how we approach you as our kin, our children, our contemporaries, our students, our teachers. And together we walk towards a time of union and reconnection, which is now in the highest probability of your lifetime in the next few years. So there is much to look forward to and much to rest assured, be rest assured in, that there is much to be comforted in and much to rejoice, and many, many others on your planet that are yearning for the same peaceful, loving connection that you are.
Thank you.
You are most welcome.